Good morning, everybody. Are we live, Alex?
Yeah, we are live.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Looks like the team up in Vancouver are enjoying themselves as they should be. So the mayor and the Gap Hunter are going to hold it down for a little. What do you call it, Alex? A fireside session, right? So we'll kind of go and see how it goes. But one of the setups that I was looking at in the broader market yesterday on the SPY, after the news kind of broke down, as you see here, it went past the 30 MA and then kind of quickly shot back up today. So it was pretty interesting to see that come back. Not sure if it's going to fill this gap, but this is something I'm watching on, just kind of how this develops. I've been looking for this thing to break down for a while. I'm not sure if I'll ever get it. I'm playing it through this short proxy here. So if anybody's looking for kind of an actionable idea, the SH or the SQQQ is another option. Again, after the news yesterday, we'll see how it kind of plays out. But anyway, none of my fibs are saved. But in any case, one of the trades in the broader market that I had that actually failed, I was talking to Alex earlier, so that'd be a good idea to share this one. So what I've been doing in the broader market is using FinViz and doing a CanSlib screen on it, and then doing my TA against it. This is one of those setups that came about from that process, maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe. Anyway, the last couple of weeks I've been kind of going down that route in stocks. Hit the stop to scratch level, and then on today you can see this weird, looks like it might be a hammer at some point today, maybe not though, who knows. But I almost didn't follow my plan because I was like, this is just an FU move. Let's kind of see how it goes. But I could hear Brian yelling in my ear, just, follow your plan, follow your plan. So I guess it wasn't technically a failed setup, stopped at scratch. It's a second best type of trade. So, I'm happy with it. But the one thing I saw here was this accumulation. So OBV is going up. The yellow line here is actually accumulation distribution. I've been watching that for maybe the last month just to kind of see the differences between OBV and accumulation distribution. As you can see, when they move in lockstep, there's no discrepancies there. But as you see here, MACD crossed the zero line, so that and Willie, stupid with the big M staring at you. So I hopped off, followed my plan, so I'm happy with that. As far as any other ideas in broader market, actually I'm working bids on this one, so maybe this might be good for the community. Again, this I believe was one of those CanSlim ideas that I went ahead and looked at from an FA standpoint. It's going to be an LJ, depending on your trade plan, follow accordingly. But I'm still working bids at the neckline, as we're pretty close, 9 cents away. But just going to work bids, not touch it. If I get filled, great. If not, fair enough as well. So yeah, MOXC. Let's see here, any news? Yeah, not entirely familiar with the name from an FA standpoint, but again, I believe this is one of those CanSlim ideas, so it is a quote unquote rational idea for the community. Let's see, Nathaniel gave me this idea the other day, and that this will be kind of the last broader market idea that I had to share. Dust. Yeah, great. So same type of thing, took off on the news of those Fed rate cuts, and then today, pretty much sitting right at the neckline. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe tomorrow it flip-flops the other way, maybe not.
So you're actually looking to enter that on a retrace there?
This one I'm already long.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just sitting here at this bigger W's neckline, it seems like.
Yeah.
But again, yesterday the markets, took off after the news and, promptly flip-flop today. So see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as broader markets, that's kind of it for me.
All right, shall we move on over to crypto? I mean, like
Sure.
Josh has said, right? It's probably going to be an abbreviated session today. Guess we'll probably not take too long, but just a little run through for everybody.
Yeah, so what I've been doing in the crypto markets pretty much as far as my quote unquote day trader plan, it's actually been kind of like a silver lining with Bittrex coming out and changing the rules and regulations and delistings for US customers. I've had an opportunity to kind of shift gears and focus my time on trading more setups, which has actually been really good. So as far as my day-to-day, I start with the weekly. I put this little matrix together. This is Brian's bias, the 13 EMA and the 30 EMA. I also threw on the ADX with DI here just to give me, again, I'm still learning this indicator and kind of what value it could bring. It'll tell you if it's a trending or ranging market and the direction, which, you know, for all of us traders is pretty valuable, but I'm not working it into a setup or anything like that. But from a Bitcoin standpoint, we can see that 13 EMA the last 2 weeks has been pretty good support. And, you know, since what, April, every time it's come into that 13 EMA, it's gotten pretty good support. So we'll see if this is continuation, if that trend is healthy. I mean, this thing keeps rocketing up from a trend strength standpoint. Anything over 25 is a quote unquote strong trend. So, you know, it's be kind of from a weekly standpoint, would be super dangerous to kind of step in front of that bus, especially, I mean, when things get going, it just can keep going and going and going, just like we saw right in 2018. So for the Bitcoiners out there, just trade your setups and all that fun stuff, because you don't want to be on the wrong side of it and get blown away. All the other ones, which I thought were interesting, right? So like Litecoin, we thought was a leading, you know, well, we didn't think it was leading into the It's Happening event, right? All these other ones have come through the 13 EMA and actually been using 30 EMA as support. Some of the smaller names have actually broken past it. So that's been something I've been watching, trying to get an idea of, you know, why is Bitcoin, you know, not come down if this is allegedly leading. So that was just one thing that's jumped out to me. I don't have an explanation for it. I just, something I thought was interesting.
So Andrew in the chat asks there, what's that indicator you're using?
Yeah, so it's ADX with DI. I forget the exact person I grabbed it from, but after this, I'll actually post it in the lounge so you guys can look at it.
Cool.
Yeah. So I like it. There's some ADX ones that just have the ADX line, which is great. But I really like, you know, paying attention to these bullish, bearish crosses as well as trend strength.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially on a weekly from a trend standpoint, you can tell, you know, if you use this as additional information, this cross here, okay, great. This is, you know, would have given you a good, especially with the weekly W neckline there as well, right? So I'm seeing some good information, especially from those crosses. So I'm still paying attention to it, watching it, but there's definitely some value to be gleaned from it for sure. So yeah, I'll post that in the lounge after this, just so everybody has it.
So are you even interested in BTC pairs anymore, or are you just looking at US dollar pairs?
You know what? As of this week, I've actually been trading some setups against BTC pairs. Again, with Bittrex doing what it's been doing, I put my little old lady pretty much on hold until the dust settles, just because it's too much uncertainty especially for American customers. As of September, we're no longer on Binance, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, am I going to have to put all these altcoins onto a wallet and just wait until the dust settles? Maybe, you know, who knows? But as far as investing any new capital or Bitcoin I do have, you know, this one thing I've gleaned from the whole Bittrex thing is capital preservation. So I have been trading setups, and I do have a couple I can share with you guys here. I've actually started to experiment with 3 commas as well for trade management. So in the next week or two, hopefully I have some feedback on how that's going for me. I know some of the other guys love it, so I'm sure it'll be the same. But as far as overall trend, that's what the weekly looks like. Here's the institutional bias. We'll show that real quick just so people have an idea. You can see the discrepancy there. Weekly from Brian's bias is up. Institutionals are bearish. So maybe that was the move, through here. Institutions were bearish. Maybe this, this level holds for Bitcoin. Don't know. If we lose that level, that's going to be a massive, massive M.
Sure.
I'm actually in a short bot with targets around 7,000. My stop to scratch level hasn't been hit yet, but it was flirting with it yesterday. So we'll see how it goes. If Bitcoin, the weekly trend wants to push up, then my 4-hour bearish bot setup gets stopped out at scratch. Fair enough. Which is actually fine. I'm a Bitcoin bull. I want it to go up, right? But here's a good idea of, the difference between the weekly and the daily. So this is the institutional bias that Brian teaches, right? The 9 and 18 EMA. So a little bit of discrepancy there. Let's see what the algo looks like. And again, all these names are the ones that are marginable on Kraken, just in case anybody is wondering. So yeah, we had an algo signal the other day, right? Which I think Brian and everybody have been talking about. So everybody should be pretty aware of that. Litecoin's pretty interesting on a 4-hour here. Looks kind of bull flaggy, huh? Potentially. We'll see.
Yeah.
There might be something setting up.
It's similar to Bitcoin though, right? I mean, these markets, they're highly correlated by now.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I saw was this Bitcoin Cash the other day seemed to be, had a little bit more, I don't know if it was volume or fuel, but it ran up pretty good the other day, where it was, a little bit more disconnected. But yeah, the big three, right? The three amigos. I definitely agree with that. So yeah, nothing really jumping out from an algo standpoint. Everything's been, this actual algo short signal still working away, hasn't been stopped out yet, just chugging along kind of almost where it started. So just kind of seeing how it goes. I think between the weekly and the daily trend following, seems like it's kind of a battle. So again, if we lose that 9,300 level, that'll, or if we rocket higher, that'll kind of dictate the, what is it, the bull bear battle lines, as Brian says.
Mm-hmm.
So you were asking about Schultz. So I have been kind of keeping an eye on it. It was looking almost happy, and we broke down.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Again,
it's interesting though. The trend line on your RSI study there, it's not invalidated.
Yeah. So there's heartbeats, right?
Yeah.
There's
right.
There's hope. There's hopium.
Yeah.
Heartbeats and hopium, but
yeah,
it's just going to be a while, right? I mean, even one of those GAN studies I did, it had spring of 2020 as one of the date estimates, right? So, and then again, alts rallied into, what was it, the kind of like the late fall of 2017. So
yeah,
maybe it's a late fall, it'll happen when it happens.
These alt cycles, like since I joined the space, I guess in 2015 or something like that, they changed quite a bit. So there were times where you used to see these things rally in like starting out in March, until May, and then there were times where you saw them rally, and like you just said, in autumn, and that kind of thing. So like you said, right, you really have to base your analysis on the charts, right? And there's nothing bullish on these charts right now.
Nope.
So it is interesting though, if you pull up something like the Ethereum BTC chart, right? We are getting like nosebleedy bearish, I guess, to a certain extent. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like in the if you pull up a weekly chart there and zoom out a bit, right? I mean, you can see we're heading down into the double bottom breakout level of 2017. So all the way back in like 2017 there, that's actually where we started this rally, right? And that's just where these areas, we're just entering them right now. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, and there's been a handful of alts I'm still paying. I have my little watch list, and maybe once a week I go through and just have a look. I'm seeing a lot of similarities to this, where we're now it seems like we're finding support where those weekly W's came in 2017.
Yeah. And basically retracing the entire rally, right? So we're back at square one, I guess, with a lot of these.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we make new lows on some of them, especially the ones that, you know, don't have a good story or don't have a good product. I mean, since 2017, right, a lot of these names had white papers, right? By 2019, 2020, their roadmaps should have actionable projects by now, right? At least beta. So those projects that weren't full of shit, that actually had products that people were working on and they're diligent, you know, if you actually believe in the story, this is the time that, you know, if they actually have products, then, you know, we could see some winners come through this. But those white papers that were ripped off, that were just copy and paste from another project, yeah, those are probably not going to survive. And, you know, it's those shouldn't, for the good of the space, right?
Totally, yeah.
Let's see. Well, I'll show you guys some of the setups I'm either hunting or already in against BTC. Maybe that'll be helpful for some people.
Sure. Wow.
Let's see. Yeah, exactly, right. So this is another one of those ones where, you know, here's the W down here, old support before it rallied, right? So we're coming into some very interesting levels for a lot of these down here as well. I mean, could we make new lows? Sure. I mean, I'm working a tight stop on this thing, so if we do, fair enough. But, you know, historically, the thing that just kills me about this is the risk to reward on this thing is almost 13-1. Just to a 50% retrace, right, of that range, which is hilarious.
Okay, so you're gonna hold if these lows are validated, right?
Yeah, and again, I'm using 3 commas to manage these trades. So I'm using tight stops. You know, if we break that little W, fair enough. But as you can see here, we got, you know, confirmed, and then another potential divergence. Willy stupid. You know, RSI is trending up. I don't like this OBV in accumulation. So, and volume speaks volumes, but we got a couple green bars poking its head up. So, you know, 50%, 200 MA. Again, the location that we're in is previous weekly W levels. So, you know, could we still go a little bit lower? Sure, but I'm gonna take a shot on it, see what happens.
So that's something new that you're trying right now in the space, or?
Yep. Yeah. Kind of in lieu of my little old lady, if I see these names at those weekly W, like old locations, and these names here are on the stronger FA rating for the coin markup as well. So I'm not even really monitoring the real Schultz with poor FA based on that coin checkup score. So this would be a quote unquote, kind of like what I'm doing in the broader market with the CanSlim, and then do TA against those names. You know, I'll do the coin checkup 75% or more, and then I'll go and, you know, do TA and trade my setups, right? And the setups I'm trading right now are the 3-step Royal Tango, the LJ, and the bot. So I'm just kind of sticking with those. And so let's see. So that's this stealth coin. PPC is another one that looked like it might have a heartbeat here. This one's going to be a bot. So, I mean, as you can see here, we have volume, some big green bars. Do we get a continuation? Not sure. Let's go. I'll pull it back to the weekly just so you guys can see where that's at in the bigger picture. Yeah, so it's like, it's, well, whatever that little blip is there, right? The listing candle. So yeah, buyer beware, right? Trade your own setups, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting with something like the XST chart that you just posted, right? If you have such a high risk reward, right, you're gonna be wrong a lot of the time, right? But that doesn't really matter because the risk reward is so high that even if you, I mean, that was like 13-1, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. And a lot of these alt setups that I'm seeing are like 4 to 1. I mean, my trade plan has me going minimum 2 to 1, so
Yeah.
I can be wrong half the time and
Yeah.
still be scratch trader, which is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these are like minimum 4 to 1, 5 to 1.
Yeah. So even
You
if you're just have an accuracy of like 30% or something like that, you're gonna be profitable. But you're
Yeah,
certainly gonna be. I mean, I would imagine that you were gonna be wrong more times than you're gonna be right. Right? It's just
absolutely.
the territory of doing that
Yeah.
trading.
And that's another good thing about this whole Trex debacle and all that is it's given me an opportunity to really get comfortable being wrong and just accept it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I fucking hate being wrong. Like I hate it. Like it's just part of maybe my human nature, which I'm working on. But yeah, just accept the fact that I know I am going to be wrong, but these setups are our edge. We're going to be, as long as we can follow our plan and do the risk reward and all that correctly, all I care about is being profitable, right? I don't care about being right. So
Yeah.
let's just do that.
Wise words, dude.
Yeah, Brian's a good teacher, that's for sure.
All right. So, I mean, do you look at things like Bitcoin dominance or these kinds of things? Or
Oh yeah, it's a good idea. I'm gonna check that in a minute. Let's see, there it is. Oh, how funny. Yeah, with the Bitcoin dominance, I mean, this 13 and 30 on the weekly, right? I mean, that's indicative of a really strong bullish trend. And
yeah, totally.
I mean, who knows? And this is obviously the alt index, and it's a very strong bearish trend. So,
Yeah.
you know, and in this channel as well, we're right there in the midline of it. Just maybe we just keep marching higher. Who knows?
Yeah, there's really nothing to get too bullish on alts right now if you look at these charts.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It's interesting
Yeah.
though. The one at the bottom there is BTC dominated, right? So it's just altcoins in BTC.
Correct, and that's the original alt index from Benjamin.
Okay.
If anybody's wondering on that one.
Yeah, that's just making new lows.
Yep.
But if you look at something like the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, we're just actually coming back into support, I guess. So it really depends.
Is that the Turtle BC one?
Yeah. So I think it's total 2. It's just a ticker.
Oh, in here, total 2.
Yeah, you can just type in total 2 and it should be. So it really depends on your perspective, right? Whether you're measuring these in BTC or in US dollars.
And which one's this? Is this US dollars?
US dollars, right? So you can see there's nothing to get too excited yet, right? We just have this little bounce after we come off quite a bit. You have that M top in the market there. But really, if you look left, right, we are approaching, if we go to new lows here, right, we are approaching that double bottom breakout level that Brian and me talked about, I think, 3 weeks ago or something like that. And if that drop is not too fierce, you know, it probably will happen on a divergence in like MACD and these kinds of indicators, right? So I guess what I'm saying is not all hope is lost with these coins, especially if you pair them against US dollars, right? It's probably just going to take some time for them to clean themselves up again.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting level here, huh?
Yeah, totally.
Sitting right there. Huh. Right at the pot.
Yeah, totally.
Very
I mean, we haven't really bounced back that much, right? Compared to BTC. I mean, that thing probably didn't even hit like, I mean, it certainly didn't hit 38.2 on this bounce that happened in the last months. So, I mean, this just goes to show that really what we've seen in the last months so far really was pretty much a Bitcoin story, right? Yeah, you've hit the 38.2 off of that small range there.
Smaller range.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Which is good for the Bitcoin bulls, right?
Totally, yeah.
I mean, and which I think most of us here are. The maximalists are loving it, but I mean, I mean, for all the altcoin stories, again, those products that, are value add, they, are disruptive, all that fun stuff. Their time will come. It's just not today, right, or tomorrow,
Sure.
but
Sure.
it's a long-term play anyway. Like Brian says, the whole little
Yeah.
old lady thing is like 3 to 5 years. So just keep that perspective, 3 to 5 years. Trade your setups.
Yeah, and do your fundamental analysis, right? I think people got trapped. They saw all the nutso-ness of 2017, where you could buy any coin and you'd make a lot of money, just doing that. But that's not what trading or even investing usually, or in most cases, is about, right? This was just an insane bubble. So you really got to pick your stories. You really got to do the research. And yeah,
it's not hard to make money through this, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the really easy part of the game. But then again, what's funny? It's ironically, if I guess it's hard to keep that money, right? Because a lot of people,
absolutely,
they just write that entire thing down till we come back to the lows again. So that's why it's so important to have a plan, right? When do you enter? When do you exit the markets? And that's
super critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. What's your how's your parabolic stuff looking? Anything on that?
Well, the interesting thing about, I mean, do you have it on a chart somewhere that's set up? Like Benjamin, really great.
I do. I think I made something the other day.
Yeah. So Benjamin, who's a really smart guy, he actually built an indicator out of that, and you can actually use it on TradingView. That trend line. Yeah. So
built your little.
Totally. I mean, that is super awesome, right? It just takes one glance and you basically know where you're at. So what I'm using that trend model for is not so much telling me when the top is in, right? But rather for getting confirmations on bottoms. The reason for that is because, I mean, we've all seen it, right? Crypto can be really crazy when it comes to putting in tops, right? It's really exponential action. And if you have something that really takes a long time to confirm, you're just going to miss out on taking profit at appropriate levels. So, yeah. But you can see, I mean, it's turned bearish on most of these names, right? Even the reverse there.
Interesting.
So Joseph says, what indicator is this? So these little dots on the chart, that is the stop and reverse, and the indicator below that is an indicator that Benjamin built off of my trend model, which consists of several different indicators like stop and reverse, MACD, RSI, and the Bollinger Bands.
So yeah, the little dots is just the inbuilt TradingView SAR.
Yeah.
And then the MOV, the Mayor of Vienna by Benjamin. So I'll post that in the lounge after this too.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like how Brian built these matrices, and again, I've started using them in my. This is one quick glance, you can kind of get a really good idea of. And I've been primarily trading Kraken because, again, and it's against US dollar. So I'm trading alts or some of the bigger names against US dollar on Kraken. So all the regulators are happy with me now.
Yeah. So how are you going to deal anyway with the ban hammer that's going to come down for you guys on sites like Binance? You said you were just going to move it off your coins and wait and see, or?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how, see how they, how stringent they want to be with it. But yeah, I mean, long term, for us US people, we need to play by the rules and all that fun stuff. It's just not worth the risk. So I'm not panicking. I'm just gonna kind of take a step back, let the dust settle, and then figure it out from there. But worst case scenario, if they're super strict about it, then I'm actually in the process. I have like some test servers I do IT consulting for work, right? So I got a couple pretty beefy servers in a guest bedroom here that I'm actually running a bunch of wallets on for some of the Trek stuff. but I'm actually in the process of building a couple virtual servers in the cloud. So I'm going to have resources to run while it's on. If I got to throw them in the cloud and wait a couple years until we have an option, then fair enough.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
That's worst case scenario. I don't really want to do that, but
sure,
push come to shove, fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting about that is because I myself am pretty interested in how they're going to deal with it, right? Because I'm actually moving to the US in like
right, huh? You're about to be part of that.
So actually, I wrote Binance, right, and I asked them how's it gonna impact me, right? And they told me that it doesn't really matter if you are inside the US as long as you're not a US citizen, right? So they're probably not going to geo-block everybody, right? Because then I couldn't trade there either, right? But I, just the European citizen who's moving to the United States, for years or whatever time, I should be able to still trade on that. So it'll be interesting if it's really just going to be which passport you KYC'd on Binance, right? Because then people surely can find ways to tinker with that and to get around that. I would imagine, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting again on how crazy they want to get with it.
Yeah, sure. All right, so I don't know. Do you have anything else we should take a look at, or?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for now. If I have any other ideas, I try to post in the lounge. So if anybody's curious, I'll post those links in the lounge, though.
Okay, awesome. So I guess people, if you still have a question or two, or maybe a name you want Joshua or me to take a look at, you can post now in the lounge or the Google Chat Hangout or the YouTube chat. We still have like 15 minutes to go, or else I guess we'll just call it a day. So there is silence in the lounge, silence in the YouTube chat, and silence in the Google Hangouts. All right, guys, so I guess that is it. I want to say such a big thank you to Joshua, who's like, just jumping in there without really being prepared like myself. I hope that the guys at the Vancouver meetup, that they just gonna remain having a blast and enjoy the time there. I think we should have a daily brief tomorrow again, a regular one that is. Apart from that, I say thanks to all of you for listening to us, and I will bid you a fond adieu. Bye, everybody.